One of the slaves began to rivet my intense attention. He was about my own age, with a high hooked nose and the red hair common in Thrace. But he was not a Thracian, because his eyes had a different cast, and, as he gave me a quick, searching, frightened glance, they had a different shine. As his skin was sunburned, I thought he had come from some desert land not far from the mouth of the Nile. Presently he would trudge out of my hearing, and then disappear around the bend in the road. There would then have come no good of my strong impulse to speak to him, to have some business with him of great import, although I knew not what it was. The chance was being swiftly lost, as were so many other chances, some of them noble, that had moved into my reach only to disappear. Was I not always being cautioned by my mother, and by old Stone-Face too, not to act on impulse, but to chart my course with care? Doubtless they were right. Then my heart lifted strangely. I had forgotten the spring of good water, issuing hardly a stone's throw from where Clytus and I stood. It might be the gamekeeper's mouth was dry from road dust. Perhaps he had not watered his two-legged cattle since the hot noon. In any case, he shouted an order, and the slave gang shambled to a halt. And now I wished fate had not moved, and instead I had run and commanded the keeper to stop his march, as was meet for the prince of our realm. If the fellow did not know Greek, I could have made him understand me, and he would not have failed to recognize my station by my rich cloak with its jeweled clasp in the shape of a lion. Still, I was glad enough of the spring's cool and inviting flow, which had retrieved my laps. Perhaps Hermes, god of travelers, had set it here for that very purpose. "I am going to speak to the young slave," I told Clytus as I set forth on a brisk walk, "but do not show haste or eagerness." Yes, I would question the sunburned boy, and now I knew what questions to ask, and if he knew only a little Greek or some outlandish dialect, our minds could still meet. Still, I could not understand my own intense curiosity. Batches of slaves passed every few days, and I had watched them pass in their chains and yokes, and except for a pang of pity that swiftly died, I had gone about my hard games, my running and jumping and other elementary exercise for war that Philip had directed and old Stone-Face enforced, which filled most of my time between eating, sleeping, and study. The truth was, a plan was taking shape behind my eyes. I did not know quite what it was or why I believed it practical. It rose from something undistinguishable, but stirring, that I had seen in the young slave's face.